sensitive to these sounds. Plant down and lotus in a tempted ground. Knowing if I fail to lift the veil, I'm hellbound. Journey through the fate of all the hate I found. Done laying out the layman's for these lames, big clowns. We can still throw down pound for pound if you choose to drag my name through the mud with no bounds. Scars go deep, but the passion can shift. Trying to find a balance between anger and bliss. Searching for my purpose when success is a myth. I thought I knew the gist of the plot, but it came with a twist. Had it all mapped out, but none of the pieces fit. Abandonment issues got me doing the split. Realizing I didn't really need what I wish. Got sick of getting tricked into giving the devil a kiss. Welcome to the side of hell. They got me under a spell. Story to tell as soon as I break out of this shell. Welcome to the side of hell.
Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. Welcome to another edition of Portal to the Paranormal Vodcast. I'm your host, Nando, and I hope everyone is having a great day or had a great day. Tonight we have a great guest joining us. Tony Ferguson, Ghost Whisperer. We're going to be chatting to him about recent investigations that he's taken part on because he's joined us on a couple. And we're just going to find out a little bit more about Tony's journey throughout the paranormal field. He's done a lot over the years and he's investigated a lot of in locations. So we're going to get into that. As always, if you're watching and you have a question, please put them in the comments and I'll do my best to ask Tony your questions. But what I'm going to do is bring him on and we'll say a quick hello once I've got Tony on and we'll go from there. Good evening,
Tony. Hello, mate. How you doing? You all right?
Yes, I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. Thank you.
Good. Thanks very much for taking your time out of your evening to join me tonight, especially with you because, you know, crazily enough, you're going for a house move at the moment just before Christmas. So a lot going on for you.
Yeah, a lot going on, etc. But obviously with the paranormal, I always take a bit of time out for that anyway. So it's always good to talk about stuff like this.
Yeah, and I've been really excited about talking to you because, like I've just said, we have been able to investigate with you as well in 2 different locations. Yeah. So got some great questions for you based on those investigations, but also about other things that you've done. But before I do that, I just want to say my hellos and, you know, to everyone in the room. So we've got Gillian joining us. Thank you for tuning in. Pamela, thank you. I apologise if I get the name. Etta, is that right? Etta, good evening. Thank you for joining. We have Janice, we've got Shirley. Yeah, thank you. As always, guys, if you've got a question that you'd like to ask Tony, he is an open book this evening. So shoot away. Sarah is joining us. Hey, Sarah. So you know, like I said, we've got quite a bit to talk about, and I've got some video clips from the investigation at Mallett House, which was quite cool. But first thing I want to ask you, Tony, is where did your journey start in the paranormal?
Well, for me as a kid, basically I saw stuff as a child at my grandma's house. So as I got a bit older, I saw a lot of mediums seem to come my way quite often. There's something special about you and stuff like that. And I used to be like, yeah, I've got ADHD. Like kind of my energy's gonna be different. So I used to sort of poo-poo it and just think, yeah, okay, I'm just pretty much switched off from it. Hey, Dan. And yeah, basically, as I got a bit older in my sort of 20s and stuff, I started doing some investigations behind the scenes. And, you know, I noticed a lot of stuff was happening around me. And as it did as a kid, but I used to sort of, again, as a kid, your imagination plays tricks on you. So I just thought, yeah, you know, it's just one of those things, you know, kids have like mystery friends and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, so it intrigued me and I thought, well, I'm going to do a bit of research into this, find out if there is any truth in it and yeah, and document it. And obviously when I started doing it off camera, I noticed things were happening. And so I started in 2018, started documenting it on camera. And I thought I'm going to just document the journey. And if I don't capture nothing, I don't. If I do, then great. You know, it's for me, I can look back on it. And I'm not going to be one of those storytellers that said, I had this experience, but I can't prove it. And I can't show you it, but it's in there. But I can say, here, this is my experience and this is what I encountered. And, you know, if people don't want to believe it, they don't. If they do, they do.
Well, that's fair enough. And going back, you're saying from a young age, that's when it started happening. Do you remember, because you can hear spirits, like quite openly, you can hear spirits. Do you remember the first spirit that you encountered, and did you find out who they were? Can you tell us a bit about that?
So I used to see a gentleman in my granddad's house quite often, and basically my mum used to go and drop my brother off at school, leave him with my nan, and I used to be cry quite often when I used to go there. And she used to leave me in the kitchen area, and on several occasions the gentleman used to appear, and my nan used to come in and go, "What are you crying for?" And I've just seen a gentleman walk through the wall, and I was only about 3 or 4, coming up for 5ish. It happened for a good couple of years, and so that's why one of the reasons why I started the journey. I mean, the hearing side of things, that was the development. That was later on in my life where I started to change things, which I'll go in a bit later on with you on regards to that. It's like everything, you've got to develop things and change things in your life to better yourself. It's like if you're a plumber, you can't just walk into the job and then expect to be the best plumber in the world or that sort of thing. You've got to gradually build yourself, and I say the same with anything you do in life.
No, definitely. And going through that at a young age, what was the sort of response to your family when you went and told your family about what you were experiencing? Did they have the same, or was it just something that you were the only one experiencing it?
So we're going back, 30 plus years ago now, and obviously back in them times it wasn't talked about. My granddad used to have experiences in the house. He openly talked about it when we got older, but because we were so young, we weren't really told about stuff. But it weren't until we got a bit older, things started to come about the house where my brother saw a gentleman when he stayed over there, hovering above him in one of the rooms. And the gentleman figure was seen quite often by my granddad. And, there was also poltergeist activity happening in the house where things were moving on their own and stuff. But they ignored it. So whether it was because it was fear or it was because they just thought, don't say anything because we'd be looked classed as a weird family or something. Yeah. I don't know. But back then it was a taboo subject. And so it's one of those things that was hushed under the carpet. Whereas nowadays we're a bit more open to it because obviously, everyone's into the paranormal. They're looking into what's really going on out there.
No, definitely. And, as you've started this journey, then you've started, documenting your findings and, you're opening yourself up. How did you develop the skills to the point of what you have now then? Because like we said, you can hear things, you've seen things. What path did you go? Did you seek help, or was it just self-taught all the way through?
Self-development for me. Obviously, I've always been one out in nature in general. I started to let go of life. I know it sounds crazy, but we live in a world of fear. And if you look at everyone, TV, media, everything is fear. I switched off. I call it the tell lies to your vision, not television, tell lies to your vision, because most of it is. And I've switched off from that side of things. I switched off from, just everyday to-day life, and even down to, I'm quite lucky in the sense that my life's quite quiet overall. I've got dogs. I don't have kids. And and it's just the overall sort of spending time out in nature. I work with frequencies, and obviously everything is frequency. And if you work with higher frequencies, then you're raising your vibration. So not only are you getting rid of that fear, and meditation. I just switch off from the world. I do saunas, everything that I think is going to help me cleanse myself or make myself better as a person. I try and do, and I feel that when I'm in these locations with spirit, I'm more open to it because I'm switched off from the world. The ancestors used to be like this. They can communicate with spirit all the time, and we've lost that ability through technology, through life, through stress, anxiety, fear. So I've literally just deleted that stuff out of my life completely.
And do you ever question why you've been given this ability? Because it's unique. It's not. Yeah. I know some people say, I don't know if you agree to this, but a lot of people say that I have these sort of abilities, that everyone has the ability to do this. Everyone has it.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me because I don't have that ability to be able to channel a spirit, hearing them or things like that. So do you ever question why you got this, or where you think it's come from?
Well, again, I've pushed the journey. I've not really I'm not one of those that go out there and work with other people and stuff. I just literally just go out there and document what I've got to do. There's no stress. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not a Facebooker. I'm just myself on a journey, documenting it. No pressure, not my job. It's just once I walk away from it, I switch off. And I can't say why I've got it, but is it because I've switched off from that, all that stuff I've mentioned, that I'm able to do so? I mean, look at when we were with the public, and I said to everyone, switch off from everything, literally listen, ask the right questions. And I did say to you yourself as well, you said that I don't have those abilities, but you did, and everyone in that room did, because you heard it and other people were hearing stuff. So therefore, everyone's got the ability. It's just tuning yourself into that right moment and asking the right questions. And sometimes you might miss stuff, but the cameras pick it up for you.
Yeah, it's funny you're saying, because when we were in Widley, like I said, you told everyone literally to go quiet, ask one question, and then literally there was no equipment, nothing, and then suddenly everyone was hearing like a shuffling, like someone walking up and down quite rapidly as well, like it was agitated, and it was weird to see. And then you're standing there, and then everyone's like, let's go for a break, and then Tony was like, I'm going to stay down there on my own. You go ahead, mate, I'll see you in a bit. So,
but
it is, and with that said, when you're on your own, do you feel you get better responses? Like when you're in a group, we say we're building up energy, but then you like to break away and you do a lot of stuff just on your own. And I think it's like with Bev, she'll be filming you when you're doing your bit.
Yeah.
Do you find that there's a difference with responses? Like, do you get clearer responses, more detailed than being with a group?
It's a mixed bag, because if you've got a group that are willing to participate and listen, then it's brilliant. But if you've got a group that are just going to keep whispering, then it makes my life a little bit harder. But I'll still notice a difference with the frequency. But I like both, if I'm being honest, because for me, as an investigator, I've always said this now for the last several years, I can't prove nothing through a camera, through a screen, so that people watching it, and no one can. It's not possible, because you're always going to get that one person or thousands that are going to question, well, that's fake. So if I can give those people that are in a group an experience, then that's for me, it's more better, because at least they can walk away and go, I can't explain that. So I've let go of that side of like trying to prove to the people on the camera or through the TV screen, because it's impossible. You're not going to please everyone. Everyone's going to have their own opinions, which is fine. It's what it's all about. But if you can give those people a personal experience, that even if they're a newbie, a skeptic, a non-believer, a parapsychologist, you name it, and you can give them something to walk away with, then for me, I'm happy to walk away, and the viewers can make their own judgment on whatever else has been caught through the screen.
Yeah, because one thing about you that we do see is when you do your investigations, you will actually you do like a bit of a live where you go through all your evidence, and you show it as it is, no cutting it, no, you'll repeat it, and then you actually play the full session that you've done the following day, and it is great, but when people respond negatively, how have you, because sometimes it can be quite annoying, like you're not trying, there's a way of being negative about it, like having an opinion, which is fair, but sometimes you get those comments and they're not needed. Do you ever feel that, I'm not going to document this anymore, I'm not going to share my findings anymore?
No, because we're all different. Everyone looks for something different in the paranormal. Some are, you've got the tech guys that love the equipment. You've got the ones that are doing it just because, they love urban exploring, but they want to go and check these buildings out to see if they're haunted. We're all on a different journey. No one's the same, and I don't expect everyone to be on the same level, and that's why it's quite divided. But at the same point, I don't get offended by it, because at the end of the day, it's my journey, and if you don't believe it, then it's not going to affect me. I'm just here I'm trying to switch things over in the panel to change things in a way of like, let's not to make this a circus act. Let's not make it move this, touch that. If we can do that, then my job's done. As an investigator trying to prove nothing, I'm not interested. If you can just go in there with a bit of respect and ask the right questions, if you get nothing, you get nothing. If you do, you do. It's just one of those things. But unfortunately, it's like I said, it's very divided. But at the same point, I understand why. But it's not because of the paranormal field. It's just the world we live in. It's a crazy world. Everyone's at each other's throats most of the time. So, and that's because of the world that we live in. It's not the paranormal field as a whole.
It's just the way it is. There is a question also I want to just pop up for you, Tony. So you've been asked, do you have one spirit around you all the time?
I'm aware of about 6 or 7, if I'm being honest, that I know that are there to try and help develop and trying to sort of, just make sure that I'm not connecting with the wrong sort of spirits, the ones that are just there to mess around with, and just, there's good and bad in the living, there's good and bad in the afterlife. You don't just suddenly just switch over and just become this angel. You take your ego, you take your personality with you, which is why we get lots of personalities in the afterlife.
And talking about spirits and what you're connecting with, one thing that's very common when you watch TV shows, particularly big YouTubers, every little thing seems to be something demonic. Now, my question firstly to you, do you believe that there is demonic spirits, or do you think that they're just bad attitude spirits that were pissed off in the real life and then pissed off in the spirit life? What's your thoughts?
I've never really come across anything like that, if I'm being honest. Like the media portray stuff that I've put out before, like the ancient Ramin, when I mentioned that something, I felt something, maybe someone may have been strangled there, and they sort of demon strangled stuff. You get all that stuff, and it's TV. It sells, unfortunately, but it's not how it is. It's, to me, it's like, for instance, you walk into a prison now. Are you going to get nice people? If I'm like, with the living people, they're not going to go, "Hi, come in for a cup of tea." They're going to be aggressive, and you go into a prison with, they're not going to be nice to you because they've claimed that space. So therefore, you're going to get a bit more of a negative response. I referred this to the other day. Sometimes when you go in the street and you get a bad vibe from someone, what is that? That's energy. Your energy is picking up on their energy. You're not, it's the same when people say on investigations, "Oh, I'm not liking it here. I feel a bit weird," or "I feel a bit off." It's the same principle. Your energy is clashing with their energy. It's saying, move away, step away from that energy, because you're completely opposites. You're a good person. That person's in a bad place.
Definitely. So when it comes to the word, like these demons and these dark entities, do you believe there's such things walking around, amongst us, or are you sort of away from that sort of bit?
No, it's to me. I mean, when the lady that you're going to show with the hair being pulled, the amount of people that messaged me and said that I believe that was a demon, and I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was a child, because I heard the child's voice there several times, and it was playful. And if that's what a demon's going to do to you, then it's still harmless. You know what I mean? Definitely. So it's TV. Unfortunately, it's what people watch too many horror movies, and they see these movies, and everything's portrayed like that, and it's not how it is. I mean, I can walk around these buildings on my own, and you'll get outs and goes, and disembodied voices saying get him and whatever. But other than that, it's just mouth. It's just basically characters that if I walked into your house, you're going to say to me, get out. We're walking into their space, get out. So it's just basically that. I've not come across anything like where I'm thinking, oh my god, this is crazy. It's like hell on earth kind of thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And just before we go on to the video clips, Sarah has asked, what is your favorite piece of evidence you have caught?
I think Shepton Mallett prison, because I caught an apparition that appeared out of nowhere and walks off. And before that, I actually said it's the calm before the storm, and the room felt very heavy. And Adam, the investigator, was taking hold of the team. He was doing a seance, and as he was doing the seance, probably about 40 seconds after I said it's the calm before the storm, something's about to happen, Adam drops to the ground in agony. And we had to drag him out because he basically something affected him in there. And I was very, because he was doing some seances in a chapel in the actual prison. So I thought, no for me. And and that for me. Then the apparition walked past just before he actually dropped to the ground, and it just appears out of nowhere, walks off, and it's just one of those things for me. It was amazing because it happened in the space of 3 minutes.
Wow, that is amazing to see an apparition. That must have been great. But for you were saying about people doing like seances and things like that. One thing I noticed with you, we did one because a lot of a lot of the people that join us like the thought of having that protection. But you don't participate in that. You sort of stand back and you watch on. do you prepare yourself in a different way before coming on an investigation? Is there something that you do to ground yourself, or do you just go in and just say whatever happens happens?
No. So obviously I've got dogs, so I'm always down the beach. So I spend a bit of time down there grounding myself. If I'm not there, I'm doing it in the forest. And yeah, there's things that I do. I've got crystals here and stuff, Shanghai and stuff like that, and tourmaline and stuff. And I just do little sort of rituals to myself, you know, before I go to an investigation. I even meditate sometimes before I even get into the actual location as well. You know, just stuff like that. And then once I'm in there, I'm in the zone. And I sometimes if I'm linking in with people's energy, I'm not concentrating on my own. So that's why I don't do anyone else's sort of seance. Not that it's not good. It's just for me that it's not going to work. I know what works for me. So I just literally, once I'm on location, that's it. I'm there to record the night and document what's going on.
Brilliant. And you know, with locations, like, you know, Fort Whitley very, very well. But say, for example, you're going to like Marley House, for example. I think that was your first time investigating that location with us. Did you pick up anything on the way up? Like, did you start sensing things prior to going into the location? Do you start picking up what you may find, or does stuff start coming to you before you actually start your investigation?
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those that I do predict it, and I always say to Bev on the way up, you know, I know something's going to kick off tonight, and it does. And I just know by, you know, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know something. If it's going to be a bad night, I know it's going to be a bad night, and I say it, and usually it is. If I know it's going to be a good night, I mean, I didn't know I was even booked with you guys until we got out of the car park. I was like, Bev showed me. I was like, oh, that's the guys that I'm doing the interview with.
You saw Sarah. You saw Sarah's shock when you just walked in. She come in and was like, "That's Tony. That's Tony." And I was like, "Really?"
Oh, I wasn't even aware. So.
But it was a great night, wasn't it? It was it was cool. So yeah, so you walk into these locations. Now, with spirits, do you think that they know that you've got this ability already? Because one thing that I found quite common with you, and I was trying to work out, is it because they know what you do and what you can do? Is that there was a lot more get outs, like between Marley and Whitley, you know, there was a few videos that we looked at, and when you were sending it to me, a lot of the time it was like get out, like quite a few responses. Do you think because they're threatened by you, because they know that you can hear them clearer than what any of us can?
See, this is one of the things that I mean, I don't really watch many paranormal channels and stuff, but when I do, people miss it. There is stuff going on. I mean, I've got urban exploring friends and stuff, and they go into buildings and they get the amount of get outs they get, but they're not hearing it, and their cameras are not good enough to pick up on the audio. Whereas my camera's quite decent, it picks up on the audio. Most locations people go to, they don't realize, but there's a hell of a lot of get outs, and it's just normal. I'm just highlighting what they're saying, and I do believe my ADHD helps in a sense, because ADHD people have higher energy, they work with a different frequency, and I think that again, it's like a glowing ball of light. They're going to see you better than the rest. They're going to be attracted to you a bit more. But the fact, and I always state this when I'm on investigations, if they're going to go to someone that can hear them or someone that can't, they're going to go to someone that can, because if I'm repeating what they're saying, they're thinking, hang on a minute, this guy can hear me, but the rest of them can't. So they're going to make sure that they go to the one that can. And I state that because that's how it works. I'd be the same in the afterlife. Am I going to go to the one that can't or the one that can? Because then he's going to repeat it, and I'm just telling you guys what's being said. Now, I mean, we've had kill her. I mean, that's not related to me. It's just, you know, there's things there that happen that I'm just relaying on what they're saying. Now, is there something going on in the afterlife that we're not aware of, like a spiritual warfare? You know, that spirit guides of some people come in. Like I did say to you, sometimes people's loved ones come with them, and they're walking. It's a bit like the film Ghost. Have you ever watched it, Patrick Swayze?
Absolutely.
When he walked onto the actual train, and that other spirit said, "Get off my train."
Yeah, I know.
Same principle. You know, we're walking into their territory. We could be bringing loved ones and friends with us for, you know, protection, and they're just there to sort of like, you know, look out for us just in case there is something there that's trying to mess with us. And the get outs may not necessarily be for us. It could be for someone that, you know, that's in the spiritual world.
No, definitely. And one thing I will ask, and we had a brief discussion about this at Mallett.
Yeah.
You know, I watch a lot of things, and then you got the parapsychologists that have opinions, and some of their opinions are quite strong. So, you know, one thing I would ask you: you are able to hear spirits, but then there's parapsychologists that say you're not hearing spirits. It's actually the location that you're in is playing with your neurological workings up there because of mold and things like that. Now, I know living with, you know, if you had mold in you got to be there for quite a while to be affected.
Yeah.
But what's your thought process on?
Well, my comeback would be that I say I guess my camera's been affected by mold as well, but no, I mean, to be honest with you, parapsychology and science as a whole has got a lot to develop. I've always stated this. They say it's 10-15% of the brain that we use. Now I'm going to state this as another way. If I was your heart surgeon in a hospital, and I said to you, "Hi, I'm your surgeon for the night. I only know 10-15% of my job." Hopefully, you would run and say, "No, I want someone that knows what they're doing." Yeah. Now, you can't explain something with that amount percentage of the brain. But, you know, it's all opinion, as you said at the start, and it is. It's no different to my opinion and your opinion. It's just an opinion. You know, it's not a fact. There's no proof of it. There's no proof of the paranormal. It's just all speculators' opinions. So therefore, I always say, you know, question everything. Don't just go, "I'm on that side or this side." Look at both sides, because if it doesn't make sense, then there's a reason it doesn't make sense. I've just stated the answer to your question there. If it's mold, then my camera's been affected by mold. So it's the same. You know, I could throw so many different theories out of it. And the thing is, I'd like to see parapsychologists do more with people that do capture stuff. I don't see it too often. They try to stay on that side of like the skeptic side. Now, I've met many skeptics, many non-believers doing this, many parapsychologists. Well, I've just turned up to investigations and they come out with some, you know, stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Let's go in. Walkie Hole Caves being one. And we were locked in with Ghost to Ghost, Debbie and Emily and Bev, and with the Bill, the parapsychologist. And I asked the question, if we go in these caves, is there any reason why we should not be hearing any people above? And he said, no. It's late at night and the caves are too far underground. We caught children's voices down there. He heard it. We caught a man, which I got him to call out saying, "Get out," when he was asking questions. And he looked up like that. And I said, "You just heard that." And I said, "That will come out on camera." I said, "Well, I'm the only male here. You got a response." And we had several different voices there. And, you know, that was cool with him. And after we did that, again, it's like anything. You can't push the belief on people. You just got to go there, document it and walk away and go, that's what's happened. I'm not gonna push it on you, and that's it. But unfortunately, we've got too many experts that claim that this is, you know, we can explain this, but you can't, because it's the paranormal. That's why it's called the paranormal. If it could be explained, then why is it called the paranormal?
No, it's fair dues. And I do find that they have their opinions, but I never actually see them investigating as such. They seem to be doing a lot of it based on watching footage and researching the locations that they're talking about. So it
goes back to what I've said to you before, though. Watching things through a camera is not going to prove anything or disprove anything. It's going out there with people and documenting it. And, you know, like I just said to you at the start, I'm not here to prove for a camera or for a TV. I'm here to document it with the public, and that's it. And then if you guys want to watch. If you don't, then, you know, I'm not here to push any belief on anyone.
No, I think it's great what you do. You know, it's like you're documenting your journey through the paranormal, and you're giving the people the choice to, even when you do your lives, like you do say, could this be something? Or you even say to people, tell me if you hear something different, because you don't, you know, you hear something, but you believe sometimes people can hear something slightly different to what you're hearing. You're very open, and you're very, like, you know, open forum here, people. If you hear something different, just tell me, which is cool. And with all the locations that you've investigated, is there like a top one that is your favorite? And if so, why?
Do you know what? I love them all. It's weird, you know. I mean, they all give something, even the ones that don't. It's the history, going there, and the memories of the people that I've investigated with. But if I had to pick a couple that I've really enjoyed. Shepton, Mallett, definitely. Dorchester Prison is a good one. Fort Widley, and yeah, I don't know. Even some of the urban explores that I've done. I've gone into asylums and stuff. Just they've all Fort Gilcock being one. That's another good one. That's closed down now. But yeah, just anything and anything. I mean, I've been lucky enough to go and investigate a lot of forts and do a lot of things, that have other people I've never investigated before, and work on cases and stuff and try and find out what's going on there. And that's been interesting because I've found out stuff that no one has even known before, and and it's come up in the records and stuff. So it's just stuff like that. It's just, for me, anywhere really, even if it's just in the middle of a field, I don't care. It's just good to go and see what's really going on in these places.
Brilliant. Another question for you from the audience is, how do you close yourself off for some downtime?
So once I leave a location, I'm switched off straight away. I'm like a on and off button, literally, because if I didn't, I'd probably be going insane because I'd be hearing voices all the time. But I use frequencies. So again, it's the same principle at the start. I do the same thing at the end. I'm switching off, I'm meditating, using frequencies. When I get back, I sage. There's other things that I use also. And I just do basically like a little closing down thing before I, and I also, believe it or not, I actually stay awake and do some analysing while I'm doing this, because it just takes my focus off the investigation, and I'm still tuned in at that particular time. So I hear the disembodied voices clearer on the videos. So I stay awake, and then once I feel that I'm switched off completely, I go to bed.
But has there ever been a spirit that's been strong enough to challenge you when you're trying to switch off, like you've left and something's still pestering, or you've always been able to, push back and close down when you want to?
Once I'm switched off, Literally, I think it's a bit like I said with guides. I think if they're telling you to get out most of these places, they ain't going to follow you. So you've got to look at it that way as well. And I've been to these places so many times, but no, I've never had nothing follow me back and stuff. Never. So it's just one of those things that I think, once I switch off, and that's it. There's no more interaction until whenever I go to the next place. It's always worked for me. I mean, everyone's got their own methods. But the next day, I always make sure I'm at the beach, and I'm literally walking, even if it's in the winter, run around in the sand and stuff, and just in the water, and just basically just cleansing myself from the investigation and all the whatever's happened from the night before.
And one thing, with your investigation, I've seen that Bev comes a lot with you on some of the investigations, and she sits there with you, like recording you do what you do. Has she developed anything that, where she's gone into it, has she suddenly opened herself up because of what you're doing?
I mean, we've worked with Ghost to Ghost for quite a long time, and Emily's always heard stuff, but when we all go off together and stuff, and even her team, people tend to say they hear a lot more when they're around me. Whether that's because I'm just like, I'm used to quiet, and I'm like, let's ask the questions. But Bev picks up on a lot more stuff. Definitely, she picked up on a hell of a lot more stuff than she used to. She picks up on more if something's not good around her. She tends to pick up on that. So it's there. She's developed just like I have, just in different ways.
That's cool. So what we're going to do now, hey Chris, yes, it was great, wasn't it? We had a laugh. Chris joined us at Woodley last week.
Yeah, it was a good night.
Very good. Said it was a good night. What I've done, I've actually picked up 2 videos that you've captured with your camera.
Yeah.
The first one I'm going to play is they're both from Merley House, but the first one is from the upstairs in the sort of conference room. I believe like it was a nursery room. With and bless her, she was new to coming on an investigation, was Katie.
It was her first one, bless her.
Yeah, it was her first one, and I think she was left absolutely shocked. So what I'm going to do, guys, is just play it, and then me and Tony will have a chat about it. So let me just get the video up. It's this one.
Don't just touch my hair.
So before me and Tony talk about it, did anyone capture what was caught on camera? We'll give it a few seconds to see if anyone saw it.
It might. Do you know what? It might be worth playing. I always do this. I might play it twice and then tell them what we look for, and then play it after, because people are probably looking for like an apparition or something.
so we give them a bit of indication where they need to be looking.
Yeah, go on, go for it.
So if you notice, Katie, she sat on the chair directly in front of Tony while he's recording, and if you look to the left side, bottom left on her hair, I think Chris Coy said it was amazing. If you look at Katie's hair on the bottom left, you'll see something. So what I'll do is I'll play that again for everyone and see if you catch it this time.
Don't just touch my hair.
So hair pull. Yes, I saw it. So the funny thing that when you sent me the video originally, you said about the hair pull, but you didn't notice straight away you heard a tapping sound as well, as it was something had moved past.
Yeah, it sounds like something to me. Like, I mean, it was actually one of the viewers that pointed out. It sounds like someone actually pulling on the actual sofa, like, because I can't remember what the sofa was like. It's almost like something hit the sofa as her hair pulled. So if you listen to it again, as the hair's being pulled out, it's almost like there's something there that hits the sofa as it goes back down. So there's some sort of physical presence right by her. I mean, it's the only thing I can put it down to, but I mean, the fact that her hair pulled out, I mean, I've left the footage up raw. So, I mean, for me, it's her experience. And, you know, obviously she's the one that pointed it out. And you know, I've just left it raw for 10 minutes. I watched it and her hair didn't even move or flinch at all. So it's just one of those things that have been caught. And luckily I was aiming in the right direction. Otherwise it would have just been a personal experience for her.
Yeah. And what was great about her reaction, she was touched on the left, but she looked to the right instead of, you would think where she was touched. But in your opinion, so Abby's just said, was that a footstep before the hair? So listening to it, I think it could have been. I don't know for sure, but I've listened to it quite a few times, and it sounds like just as the hair flipped, like something had walked past. And then, do you know as you do when you're in do you remember being in school and you walk past a girl that you might like and you just flick the hair, and maybe that is something similar they saw. But you believe it could have been a child, though, when we discussed it.
Caught a child's voice in there several times, and we were being followed around the whole building. I think the child took a like to Katie because Katie was quite scared, and it was a comfort thing, and it was almost like reassuring. It's okay, don't worry, you know, we're not here to hurt you or anything. First investigation, so, and even she said it didn't. She said after it didn't feel horrible. So, you know, if she felt scared, I mean, she should. It's her first investigation, but to be fair, on your first investigation, she handled it pretty well. She didn't overreact. She didn't scream and run off. She just naturally went, something just tugged my hair, and that's it.
And she got the bug for it because she come back the following week to go to Fort Woodley.
And then she had some more stuff going on around her. So
it's and that was great because some people might think, you know, that's a bit too much. First investigation for an experience like that. Now, saying that, being her first investigation, do you think they not picked on her, but they chose her because they know that they could feel her presence, they could feel that she was very nervous, you know, throughout the evening because she didn't know what to expect? Do you think that's why they interacted with her more than anyone else in the room? Because you had two seasoned investigators from Portal plus yourself as well.
Yeah.
You know, so do you think they may have chose her because they know, you know, she was nervous, they picked up on her energy?
I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, it's like I said before, fear is a low vibration, and sometimes it can work to your favor, like with children and stuff. And there's a nice spirit there, they're going to be comforting, but it can also go against you if you've got someone there that's a bit more, you know, wanting to play a trick on, scare someone, or someone there that's just a horrible person overall. So, you know, I think personally, it was just a case for her She had a child following her throughout the night. They liked her energy. She's quite a bubbly person, and I just think that, you know, for her in general, it was just a case of, don't worry, this is your first experience. Welcome to the paranormal world, and you know, that's it. There was nothing menacing in that room. That room was probably the most calmest room out of the whole building, and we even said that when we were sat down. It was so peaceful, you know. And I had a few people contact me say, "Oh, it's demonic." Why is it demonic? What? Because it's a child? You know, no, it's not, because children do lose their lives as well as much as anyone else does. So
yeah.
And just because you hear a child's voice, just because you see these movies, doesn't mean to say it's a demon. It's just someone may have lost their life there, and they're just there like the females and males are and stuff. You know, it's just they're there.
No, definitely. With your question, Nick, was the person a normal or a medium or a sensitive? In my opinion, speaking to Katie, if you're referring to the lady that had her hair flicked, I don't think she knew a lot about the paranormal. It was literally her first investigation, and you could see the shock in her face when she come back down and she was saying about how she felt the hair move. But yeah, I don't think she may be sensitive. Maybe that's another thing why she had that experience. But I think she's very early doors in with the paranormal. Like I said, that was her first one, and it shocked her. You could tell for the rest of the evening. Her back was up against the wall, and she was like watching everything that was going on around her. Bless her. So brilliant. Chris has just said last week where the girl caught that picture of the spirit. I was sorry, Chris. I was okay. So there is a picture on our Facebook page, and I'll send it to you, Tony, to get your opinion on this.
Yeah.
So one of the girls, she was stood by the spiral staircase. And at this point, no one was upstairs.
Right.
But she took a picture, and the picture actually looks like someone's holding the railing, walking up, and you can sort of make out like a figure of a face and everything. So I have to send that to you, and you can give me your honest opinion, and then we can.
Quite interesting you said that, because in the video you'll hear me say there's someone up there on holding the railing. I heard.
Okay.
I heard a disembodied voice up there, and said there's some. It was when I was with Sarah, and someone went to the toilet. And in the video, I said, there's someone up there literally looking down at us. And we caught a disembodied voice up there as well. And it's where I always capture the voice of a American person that pretends to be someone called Mary. But yeah, I know it's a male voice, because he's like, yes, I'm here. Well, it's a male voice. Your name's not Mary. But it's an American accent. And I've caught him there with Paul, when me and Paul settled down on our own. I've taken Adam with me on my own, caught the same voice. And Adam heard it. Paul heard it, and it's the same voice. And I've been back recently with you guys, and I've caught the same voice in there when I was down on my own as well. So he resides there for whatever reason, and I'm not sure why there's an American there. I don't know the history to the place. I don't really look into it all, but there's someone there with an American accent.
Oh wow! Well, Chris has just said he wasn't on about that. It was. Let me just get it back up. Last week, where the girl caught the picture of the spirit, I was in the dead end tunnel. I felt a pressure pushing me out. No, it was that. Also, so there was another. They believe where there was a lot of activity with you, Tony, and a lot of voices coming through. Chris is saying.
Oh, that's not when you left. You left me. I think you went to the toilet, or you went off somewhere to go and check, and then you came back. I think that might be near the end when we started calling out, and we were hearing a hell of a lot of stuff. Yeah, it was. I think it kicked off for about 20 minutes where everybody, the girls especially at the front, were hearing like a male voice whispering in their ear. We all heard it. I think I tried to get the people at the back to come to the front because I wanted them to have the experience too, because otherwise they're going to miss it, because obviously the cameras picked up on it. But I was trying to get everyone involved rather than sort of leave people out.
And poor Josie as well. She had quite a weird experience because we put her in that little room in the upstairs part. You know, as you go upstairs and you got that room in there, and instantly she felt uncomfortable. And then she said that she felt like a hand just lift her bottom up. And then it happened again downstairs in the tunnel bit where you guys were doing all the call outs.
Yeah. We got a voice there saying F off as well. I'm not going to say it, but there was a voice there saying F off. Deep man growl voice as well.
Right. And then Chris is saying that spirit was a male, and I think he was patrolling because he said yes when I called out as well. So they were hearing the responses.
Yeah, they were
calling out. which is great that you're getting people coming on these investigations and experiencing those moments without any equipment, without it's just great. So thanks for sharing that, Chris. I want to share another clip. This was again back at Merley House with us. Tony and Bev were in the downstairs basement area where they actually have the kitchen area as well. And Chris was doing a bit. Tony was doing a bit of a calling out, and just check out what happens. So let me just get that up.
We've come back to try and find out who's really here. The fuck was that?
So I'll play it again.
Yeah, play it again.
Go on, Tony.
No, I was going to say, to me, it sounded like a slam dunk. Like, literally, it was that loud. I mean, we were in there earlier with you guys and stuff, and I said to Bill, I've not heard nothing like that before. Even with the refrigerator, we waited there probably about half an hour after for it to stop. Nothing like that at all. I'll play it again, and obviously we'll go through what I did after.
Yeah, cool. So I'll do that.
We've come back to try and find out who's really here. The fuck was that?
See, I don't know if you noticed, but as I was watching the clip, on the bottom right-hand side, now again, this is a bit of a people have difference of opinion, but it looks like an orb has gone past just before the banging. Have you noticed that at all when you've watched that clip?
Yeah, several people pointed that out. I mean, the orb subject and stuff. I mean, I'm not going to listen to people of this day and age because spiritual orbs have been going since the ancestors, and they've always talked about it. And I've seen the orbs to the eye frequently on investigations, and I've seen them in the pitch black. And if I'd seen it in the dark and it's come out on camera, then that's paranormal because my vision wouldn't be that good. So everyone's got their own beliefs on that. I mean, at the end, there's a lot of it that can be debunked, and it can. But there's things that can't, that are weird. That this is why we call it the paranormal. There's things that can't be explained. But just because you've seen a load of dust and people pointing out, doesn't mean to say all of it's not real. It just means that some of it isn't. Just like when you see an apparition, that's not seen all the time. It happens rarely, but when it does, it's amazing to look at. So you've got to look at the same principle with anything, in my opinion. You can't just rule out something just because you don't believe in something or you haven't experienced it. This is why I say we're all on different levels with the paranormal. Everyone's looking for different things. There's nothing wrong in that. That's what we're here for.
But the only thing, because I know like orbs, and I question it as well. When you see it could be that it could be a flight, it could be many things. But for me, that clip, and I didn't notice it before until now. It just seems coincidence that you get an orb or something coming past the camera, and suddenly you get that loud bang. Yeah. Now, some people that might watch this may say this is a piece of equipment, something's fallen over. But you actually took it to the next stage because you tried to replicate it, and what did you do afterwards? That's just so you and Bev in there.
Straight after it happened, because I know, it's one of the things I always try and do anyway. I went over to the camera, went straight over to where I heard the noise, and I looked at the bin. I said, well, that's the only thing here that I can explain where the sounds come from. So I banged on the bin. It's got like a lid, and it sounded quite the same. One of your team members came down about 30 seconds later, and as I'm new to the location, I just asked the question, is there any weird banging noises that happen there? Just, like you guys have been here more often. I went to several team members actually throughout after, just to, just try and see if I can actually say, is it, because I've only been in that building, that particular part, probably about 30 minutes before you. I had about 45 minutes with me and Bev on our own, etc. And then one of your team members came down. And and they just looked at me like, well, there's things that are meant to happen in the kitchen, banging noises, etc. But and I went to go and show it sounded like this, and then when I listened back to the camera, it did sound like that. There was nothing else in that room that could have made that noise. The refrigerator turned itself off. It was quiet. So it's just one of those things that's happened, but again, I can't prove it because it's through a camera. It's experience, and at the end of the day, it happened, and these things do happen. Why, I don't know. Perhaps it's to try and get me out. We had several get out at that particular time, and maybe that's just almost a get out of my kitchen kind of thing. Who knows? But it happened.
But then the other thing with the kitchen area that was quite interesting You were sat, so in the kitchen there's a little office, and we sat you in there to see if you could pick up anything. And
Yeah.
there was a couple, a husband and wife, that was stood there.
Yeah.
And the lady, I don't know if you remember, but the lady had said that she had felt some kind of pressure on her back shoulders and everything, and was getting really heavy. And as the husband went to sort of rub her back, you said, "Get off her," or "Get off." And that was quite amazing, that, you know, how quick that response was. But you couldn't actually see where they were, with the way they were stood. You couldn't see what he was doing, could you? Because there was a bit of a wall there.
I was in like a little office room, and
Yeah.
I had several voices in there, responding mainly to the lady, believe it or not, because she was feeling very uncomfortable. And a couple of get outs, but I think that was because not to tell her to get out. Sometimes the get outs are a warning that there's something there that's trying to be horrible to her. It doesn't mean to say it's like, get out of my building. Sometimes there is something there that's trying to affect her. But there was also a male voice saying, "Get off," and that's it. And I obviously, you lot were around the corner, so I didn't know what was going on. But at the same point, I just repeated what I heard. There's a male saying, "Get off." So
yeah, and it was just funny. It was at that moment he went to touch her, his wife's back, to rub her back, that you shouted that out. You know, and I thought that was quite cool, because you couldn't see what they were doing because of the wall there between the doorway. You know, so again, it was a great evening, you know. But again, for you investigate. You're very basic with your investigation, and what I mean by that, you don't come in with equipment. You literally come in with 2 cameras, and that is your whole evening set. You know, but when it comes to equipment, what is your thought process? Like, do you believe that the equipment works, or?
So I don't believe or disbelieve. I believe as a paranormal investigator, we should try things. I've tried things like this. If you don't try it, how are you investigating? How are we going to know it works? So, you know, you get a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's a load of crap, it's fake. And if you use it, you're fake." Well, hang on a minute. We all start out from the bottom. Everyone does it.
Yeah.
If you don't try these things, then we're never going to know if it does or doesn't work. And I think people just need to realise that everyone's on a different level. And I've noticed this going on people's events and meeting people. Everyone's on a different level. Doesn't mean to say you're right or they're wrong. It just means let them go out and explore for themselves and find out for themselves, like I did. You know, everyone's got to do it. You've got to. I mean, look at yourself the other day. That robot going off. You were like, "Why is that? You know, why is that happening?" But you went to go and try and debunk it by changing the batteries, and it never happened after. And it's still there questioning. You know, what made that do that? And
yeah, the robot for me, and I tried to speak to you about it, because even your response was, you know, could it be this? Could it be that? But then you got to be fair. The robot was moving, and this robot has a sensor on its chest, everyone. And the way it's designed is that it has to move in a certain direction. So if you imagine you put your hand in front of it, if you put your hand going that way, that's the way the robot will go. It picks up which way. And this robot was moving around the upstairs of Fort Whitley, and you would think that it was coming to the stairs, it's going to go down the stairs, but it turned around just before. And that was the only thing I was questioning. It was really weird. It was like maneuvering itself. And then at one point, when it was called over, it went into the middle of the energy circle that everyone was doing. You know, so it was just a weird one. Like that was weird. The way it was moving. But yeah, it was a very interesting evening.
I mean, with the devices side of things in general, I mean, people always said to me, "Can you try this app out?" I try it out, and if I get disembodied voices respond, then to the app, I'm thinking, okay, you could be responding to the app because it might make sense to you. But I've had interesting things where I've been on locations and I've said a name out and it's come out straight away. But I've also had times where it's just coming out with mumbo jumbo. So I'm like, okay, but I'm open-minded to it. You know, you've got to try it. The device-wise of EMF, K2, you know, all that sort of stuff, and REM pods, I don't use it because it's so easily. If you've got a radio and you're underground, it can go off, like as a walkie-talkie. Mobile phones, smartwatches, everyone's got one nowadays. You know, unless I'm on my own and I know that I'm with a group that I know that's got nothing on them, I'll use it. But if I'm with the public, I can't trust it because there could be that one person that's too afraid to say anything. So for me, it's not paranormal, but I've seen stuff where I've actually used REM pods where it's gone off to certain questions. But if it starts going off wappy, then to me, I always say reset it or step back from it. And then if it's stepping back from it, then I know it's an intelligent spirit. If it's not, then there's something here that's either being played with, or it's just a faulty RIM pod, or there's the batteries going, or it's being affected by something else that we can't explain.
No, that's great. You know, you've done a hell of a lot. You know, you've investigated a lot of locations across the UK now. Where do you see yourself going with this? Do you see yourself going internationally, like to go abroad and investigate, or?
I've done some stuff like that already.
Oh wow!
And and unfortunately, I don't understand what's being said. So you go abroad, you're talking. This is the interesting thing about. I've recently been to like Wales and Scotland as well, and I've been to locations and stuff. And I'm saying on camera, there's you can hear the voices, but they're speaking from a long time ago, Gaelic and stuff, and old Welsh and stuff, and I'm not understanding what they're saying, but I'm pointing out they're there. And obviously the Welsh and English never used to get on, the English and Scottish, so you didn't get a good reception, but there are responses. I've been to Malta before in some catacombs. I've caught voices there. I've caught people speaking in Latin. I never liked that side of things because I've had someone do a Latin prayer before when I've been into a building, and I'm like, not liking this, and it didn't feel good vibes in there. So it to me, it proves that this isn't something demonic or anything like that. You go to a different country, you're getting people with different responses, different voices, different accents. I've heard people with Scottish accents, Northern accents, American accents, you know, so you get all sorts. So going forward, I'm just going to continue what I'm doing. You know, at the end of the day, it's working. I like working with the public now, especially because for me, if I can give these people these experiences, then brilliant.
No, it's been absolutely great. You know, you joining us and seeing people's reactions, and I think for me personally, the hair flick was that was something, you know, and to get the validation. Like, I know you say people can't see what's happening because they're watching it through the camera, but you know, Kate's response and the way she reacted validates that she wasn't even expecting that, was she? So it was,
no.
You know, Nick's just said, if asked a spirit, can they talk in English? Okay, so I think he's on about when you've heard like the different languages, have you asked them to be able to speak English to you, or?
Yeah, it's very again. It's like I keep saying to you, when you leave the physical realm, you take everything with you. You don't just become this like, you know. And I don't believe that because I've met too many different personalities to say otherwise, you know. And it's the same thing there. If they want to go and learn English, they can. But unfortunately, if I'm going to another country and they speak another country, I'm just the same as I'm talking to you, which is why I go into investigations and I talk like I am talking to you. You know, I'm not downgrading because they're still there. They're just in a different form. So I try and, you know, be the same as I am talking to anyone that I would do naturally, and you know, day to day, and it works. And hopefully that sort of will offspring to other people going forward, and you know, change things for, you know, and change people's not approach, but maybe just go there and just think, you know what, I'm not scared, because you know, I'm just going to go there and actually just talk to them, ask the right question, and say, hey, my name's Tony. Can you tell me your name? You know, what happened to you? How did you die? Do you need any help? Are you lost? Are you looking for someone? Ask several questions. You may get a response.
Absolutely brilliant. And just to end it with you, Tony, firstly, you've got an investigation coming up on the 9th of December.
Yeah.
You're going to be investigating the nunnery. And will people be able to, are you going to be showing evidence after that investigation?
Yeah, I mean, even if I don't get no evidence, I'll still put it up. I'll leave it raw. But yeah, it's meant to be a good location. Whether we get anything, never been there, so I can't say. Getting good vibes from what I've heard. So it's just one of those things that you go in there and just say, hey, we're here, and find out what's really going on. Because I don't really listen to people's claims because sometimes hearsay gets a bit, as you know, with anything in the world. So I'm just going to go in, walk in, and just see what's really going on there. If there's nothing, there's nothing. If there is, you know, we'll capture it on the night.
Brilliant. And where can people find your stuff if they want to go and check your, because I know you've got a lot of videos that people can go back on. So you want to just give your pages a bit of a shout out so people go and follow?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Facebook like yourself, Tony Ferguson Ghost Explorer on Facebook. I just put the videos out there, leave them up for you guys to decide. TikTok, I tend to sort of put short clips up of the captures that we caught on investigations. So if you don't want to watch the whole thing, it's on there. YouTube I don't use as much nowadays because I don't have the time to run all the platforms.
Yeah,
it's my hobby, so I'm not doing this for money. It's my hobby. I ain't got time to do it. So just Facebook and TikTok. If you want to see what's coming in the future.
Brilliant. And just let you know, guys, in the description, if you go into the banner for this podcast, you can actually get Tony's links. I've actually put them in the description, so definitely go and have a watch. And like I said, Tony actually puts the investigation on completely raw, so you'll watch it from the start of the recording to the end, and then sometimes he'll do his lives where he goes through certain bits of evidence that have been captured. So if you want to catch Tony, go and follow his page and see some of the great stuff. Thank you very much for the comment. I've really enjoyed listening and learning from you both. Well, you haven't really learned anything from me. The only thing you need to learn from me is that when things were happening around Tony, I was walking the opposite direction a few times. So
I don't know. You weren't. You didn't run. So that's the main thing.
I didn't run. But I changed where I was standing, especially when you were saying there was something behind me. I was just like, okay, we'll change that. Again, thanks, Pamela, for your support. Really appreciate it. But hopefully in the new year, we'll see you again on a few more investigations.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm always, any new locations and stuff like that. Just let us know what you got coming up, and definitely, and it's been lovely to meet you all as well. Pleasure. You've got a lovely thing going on there as well. So.
I think that's what's been great. You've come in and you've sort of meshed well with everyone, and it's been fun. There's been some funny moments, and there's been moments that things have been weird.
But we're
thank
here
you, Bill, for the comment. But again, thank you so much, Tony, for taking the time out to join us this evening. What I would love to do in a future podcast is bring you on and just talk about evidence, go through a lot of your stuff.
Yeah,
because like I said. Just on the course of the 2 investigations we've done together, I think there was like 11, 12 videos that we could literally, and like I said to you at the start, I didn't want to just go through them because we wouldn't be able to find out about you. We would just be sitting there talking about the videos. But hopefully we can bring you back on in the future, and especially if you join us on future investigations as well, that would be awesome. But again, guys, please go and follow Tony's page if you're not. Links are in the description. And check out his videos. And I'm going to let you get on. Thank you so much for joining us. And
no worries, mate.
We will definitely catch up with you soon, Tony.
Yep. You take care, buddy. Speak soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Another great interview. Tony has done loads, and it's been great. This one I was excited about because we got to meet Tony in person and see the way it's really. He just comes in with 2 cameras and that's him set for the evening. And what was great about both of the investigations was when Tony was hearing voices, people that had joined us were hearing voices as well. And we don't usually get that a lot of the times. So it was like something was heightened that on both nights. But yeah, great guy. And definitely go and check out his pages, please. He's got some great videos from recent and also past investigations that you guys can go back on. Just to mention about Portal, we've hit the end of our investigation. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, nice tree. I did it. Well, Sarah did it. Sarah did the thing. I did the tree, but then she come in and changed it all. So I don't know if that's a woman thing to change anything a man does, but yeah, she did a good job. But yeah, with Portal, we've done our last investigation for the year. So we're looking forward to going into 2024. We've got some new locations coming up and some of the favorites coming back. So do check out the website. Do join us on the 1st of December. We have a special podcast with psychic medium Paul Cezelle. We've actually teamed up with Paul to do a psychic medium night on the 15th of December. And I know a few of you in the room have booked a place. So if you want to find out a bit more about Paul prior to the evening and also about how the evening is going to map out, please do join us. The details of that will be put on the webpage. But for now, I just want to say, as always, thank you to every single one of you for your support and always joining us and having a good time. And we will see you again on the 1st for the interview with Paul. So for now, take care, everyone, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.